Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Uninterrupted. I'm your host, Chris Hammonds. And with me today, we have a special guest. He is a certified ethical hacker and ex-professor at the University of Cincinnati. Give it up for Dann Glover. Dan, say hello.
Hey, how's it going? It's usually, most people like, it's an oxymoron, ethical hacker. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we're going to dive into that too. So, as always, let's get right into it. So what we're going to talk about today is something a little bit differently. We're going to talk about maturity and what that really means. So what does business maturity actually mean for you, Dan?
Well, I mean, first of all, the word maturity might have a negative connotation. I don't think you should take it that way. No matter where you are on the spectrum, I think that there's different places that you are. I own my own business, and I would consider, when I first started off, I'm immature because I'm just starting off. And right. I think as you grow, you start to become more mature in understanding some of the things that it takes to get to the next level. And it's not the same skill sets that you start off with. I think when you start a business, you think hard work and just true grit is going to get you there, and it does. I mean, in a lot of cases, it takes a little bit of luck too. So, but some of those things aren't sustainable to get to the next level. As you become more mature, you start to learn some of those little caveats that help you get to the next level in business. And they're not always the same things that got you to the first stage. So the second stage requires a different level of maturity.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. What are some characteristics of a mature business?
I think in the very beginning, you start to think that the tools that are out there are going to solve all your problems. And, as you start to get a little bit more mature, you start to realize that there are processes that need to be in place in order to get to the next level. It's not just a tool set that's going to make you more money, get you to the next level. It's actually having processes and procedures in place that get you there. I mean, just think about some of the big companies out there. Name any Fortune 500 company that doesn't have cybersecurity and policies and procedures and things like that. But there's tons of companies who probably make $5 million a year that don't have any policies in place. So you can survive at that level without that maturity, where at this bigger level you can't.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's funny you said that, because that was actually going to be my next question is, can an immature company be successful? And you pretty much just answered that. Absolutely.
You can. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great thing. If you get to a point in business where you're comfortable and it pays the bills, why move to the next level? Why, if this is what you're happy with, that's great. I mean, be successful there. And everybody should know exactly where they want to be in business. But if you're wanting to get to this massive different stage, you have to adopt different principles to get there. So kind of know where you want to be and what principles are going to get you there.
So let me ask you this. What are some signs that a business may be reacting or maybe operating reactively instead of strategically?
Let's see. So a lot of things that if you don't have a plan, and some of the things that are going on in your company where, some of those things you just kind of take into account and they were coming. And in a lot of cases, you have to react. You have to be able to go, I didn't see that coming. But when you reach a certain maturity, you kind of look at certain potential aspects of what can happen from this outcome. I'm getting ready to do X, and here are the things that can set me back. So there's that project management portion of it that you go through that makes it where you're thinking about some of those potential hurdles.
Right.
And you start to understand those things and put things in place to make sure that if you do experience it, you have a way to get over it.
Gotcha.
But sometimes you can't see everything, so you're reacting.
That makes total sense. So what I always think of when I was asking that question is, from my perspective, I always notice businesses are doing more for cybersecurity after they go through one of those incidents,
Right.
Cyber incidents, right? So they're kind of reacting to what they had to go through, and then they start to think more strategically about that too. So that's kind of what that.
And you and I have had conversations on the side where there's lots of metaphors where you
Right.
get with dentists and things like that where a lot of people don't practice preventative things until they need. I mean, it's just not. It's not in their vocabulary. It's not in their mindset. And quite frankly, why would you spend the money to do something you don't realize is going to happen? It's not even in your vocabulary to know that it's going to happen. So how can you prepare for something you don't understand or realize is out there?
Gotcha, and that's a good point. So let's kind of transition here. Let me ask you this: How does technology play a role in business maturity? Like, let's just start there. How can technology help me become a more mature business?
So, I mean, if you think about anything we do, and I know I've talked to John, and this is one of the things, everything that we do requires technology. So just think of any company today that doesn't use a computer. I mean,
I still have those?
When I was a kid, they used to ask you if you had computer, knowledge. And today, it's, I mean, you went through school and stuff. Your kids are born with it, and they've got, phones throughout their life.
Absolutely.
I didn't have that luxury. We actually saw computers come alive for us. So, but it's that transition that we went through that the kids don't have to worry about that today. But you can't do anything without technology today, and it helps you get to that next point.
That reminds me, before I started working here, this is years ago, I was telling my mom that I was looking for another job, and she said, well, why don't you just go in there and drop your resume off? And I tried to tell her that you can't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
The places are requiring you have to apply online, you have to do something. So there's technology involved with everything that you're doing, essentially, for your business.
I told my daughter a couple days ago, I was like, I used to have to go to the mailbox to watch Netflix.
The old red box? Yeah, and that's something that this generation that's all they know. So, and I don't see it moving backwards anytime
What's a
soon,
CD?
Right. I mean, it's only going to progress and move forward, right? So, it's a big part of your business maturity in that aspect. So, let me ask you this: what's the difference between just using, and you kind of touched on this already, using technology versus leveraging technology?
Yeah, there's a really fine line there, but when you're using technology, you're kind of trying to solve a problem right away. When you're leveraging it, you actually are trying to take it to the next level. It's a fine distinction, but there's a difference between just running out and getting a software and trying to put it in place. But when you start to leverage it, you start to go, this is a part of my mission. I have a goal that my company's trying to, and I'm going to use technology this way in order to get to there. Gotcha. And you're also realizing all of the implications of that. So what are the costs involved? What are the downsides for my individuals who work for me who are going to interact with it? So that has a cost. How's it going to be adopted? What type of risks does it now bring into the environment that you have? So you're trying to make sure that this fits within your ecosystem, and then you're starting to leverage it. It's not just, hey, we need this, go get that.
Yeah, so basically it's like saying, just another way of kind of putting that is, if I'm just calling my IT team just for support, I'm using technology. But if my IT team's talking to me about implementing AI to shave 100 production hours for some of our team, that's more leveraging than just use it. Okay, that makes sense. And so another question I have for you is, why do some businesses view technology as an expense, while others are still, most of them are starting to transition. They're starting to look at it more as an investment, as opposed to just, it's just another thing I have to pay for. A lot of times, and especially in my role, I see that a lot, where people were just like, I did not have a budget for that. I did not plan on spending this just for technology. But You could really view it as an investment, and talk a little bit more about that. It really depends on what lens you're looking through. What's the right way to look at it?
I can't really imagine any company being competitive today without technology. Okay. I don't think you can be competitive without trying to leverage, like we just said, technology and using it to get to the next level and be more productive and create higher quality products and things like that. So leveraging it in that way is basically going to get you there. So, yeah.
So where does cybersecurity fit into business maturity?
Okay, so once you get to a certain point where you start to leverage technology and you start to put these things in place, they basically become assets. And we have lots of assets in business. We have people that are working for us, and we put money in to develop that talent. We also have software, we have computers, and all of these things have value to us. But as we start to put this and leverage this technology, it starts to drive our business. And that line starts to feed the business. So if it goes down, for example, then it's costing you money. So cybersecurity gets to the point where it's the natural thing of just protecting your assets and getting to where this is worth protecting. This is something that makes my business mission possible. So I'm taking it and I'm going to protect it. It's a cost of doing business in a way. So I can see some people's reticence to, use it, because it's like, but once you have something that's worth protecting, you do that.
Yeah, and then that makes sense why businesses are starting to look at cybersecurity more as a business leader decision, as more so than just an IT issue. Then,
sure. Yeah. I mean, because once you get to the point where you're a business leader and you're making those decisions, I want to put this in place so that it helps me make my mission for my organization, that is an asset that we're going to protect. It's not a technology-driven thing where your IT people are saying, "Hey, let's put this really cool gadget in."
Right.
It's I'm utilizing my IT company to have that geeky conversation about what cool things can I to accomplish this, and they go this. All right, now that becomes an asset that's worth protecting.
Gotcha. So where would a cyber incident expose weaknesses in a company that's immature?
I mean, basically, it's just like anything. You're always going to have some sorts of vulnerabilities.
Right.
And even the most hardened company out there, you can get in. So there's never 100%, perfect security. But one of the things that John is really good at is creating those layers.
Right.
And one of the things you have to do is, if they get past this, then we can see it here. We can see it at this level. We can see it at the next level. And you have to realize once again, this is what we have. Here's all of our assets. Here's the way that you can access that. Here's the people and the vulnerabilities that it introduces. But once you can start monitoring that, and you can start realizing that this is important, and all of the different layers that can happen, and you can see what's going on and how to react. So you have to understand what you have. You have to understand, be able to watch it, and then monitor it, and you also have to be able to react to it if something happens. So those are kind of the keys to cybersecurity, and it's one of the things that John is what I consider an expert at.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit from the cybersecurity side of things. How can automation, like if I'm looking at automation for something, how can that help a company grow specifically? I know you work with a lot of our clients and you've helped them do a lot of great things. You've helped them grow. Give me some examples of kind of maybe something that we've done that has helped the company grow.
I mean, with automation, I think there's one side of the conversation where you can get into where it's replacing people. I usually don't think about it from that perspective, but I mean, it's freeing me up to do other tasks.
Repurposing.
Yeah. And I get to spend a lot of my time, I can spend 10 minutes doing this, or I can create a little agent that automatically does it for you. And we've talked about some things where it's like, I can automate that. So why wouldn't we? And that frees you up to do lots of other things, because your talent is not in just finding this information. Why can't it just be delivered to you so that you could look through it and go, that's what I want, and execute on that? That's where you become more of an asset to the company, is using that portion of you. Automate that stuff that can be.
And the reason I ask you that is because every time I bring up AI into a conversation, I'm talking to somebody for the first time, I'm still hearing that a lot, is, AI is going to be taking jobs. I like my people. I don't want to replace my team or anything like that. But that's not really how you should be looking at it. You should be looking at automation as a tool that's going to help you almost be in more places at once, right? So we can repurpose them, maybe have them focus on growth, have them focus on bringing in new customers while we're automating tedious tasks and things like that. That's how I always look at it.
Yeah, and I heard a really neat little quote yesterday. How did it go? You're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by somebody using AI.
Ooh, that's very true.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that happening more so than AI just replacing and taking over a job.
But I mean, who doesn't use artificial intelligence today? It makes you a better. I have a hard time communicating sometimes with people, and it's always nice to have that sounding board of,
absolutely,
what do you think he meant when he said this? And should I go out there and take the baseball bat to Chris because he just said that, or was no, settle down,
calm it down a little bit.
So yeah, ChatGPT has saved your life so many times.
Oh yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm using it of my week. 75% of my week, I'm using AI for something.
Why wouldn't you?
And it's one of those things. It's that people need to understand is it's a tool designed to help you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. When I started using Excel, I didn't feel bad.
Yeah,
right. So these are things that are just helping you, and ultimately, when you can integrate these types of things, it's showing your signs of maturity, that your business is maturing and looking to grow and get over some of these obstacles that you're having.
I bet you've even seen with like artificial intelligence how it's become an extension of you. And my ChatGPT is completely different than yours.
100%.
Because it's learned completely different skills and how to interact with us. It's really neat to see that, how different they are.
Let me ask you, that kind of made me think of a question here. What are some of the bottlenecks that technology can basically solve for? Like, so if you're a company, you're just starting out, you're looking to be more mature, you're starting to look at all these different things, your risk and all this, and you're using AI, you're trying to get ahead, you're trying to grow your company. What is it? Is there a technology bottleneck that can kind of prevent that from happening?
I mean, so some of the things that I get into using artificial intelligence to help me do some programming and stuff. It helps me because I get to explain to it what I want to do, and I've done programming in the past, and I'm not the greatest programmer, but I can accomplish some really neat things, and I have some design background and understand graphical user interfaces and things like that. So I think what I could pull off is kind of impressive sometimes.
Oh, I've seen it. It is impressive,
and it's neat to be able to use that. But I think some of the bottleneck is like, just because you have ChatGPT or Claude doesn't mean you're going to be able to build the next great thing. You have to have some skill sets in it.
Right.
And just like my Claude is different than yours, I think your skill sets are different than mine. And we would be able to get ChatGPT to perform, you would be able to get it to perform in ways that I could not get it, because you have a mind that's better suited for certain things, and you have an expertise in certain things that I don't. So where I can get it to do maybe graphic design probably better than you get to do sales and marketing way better than me. And that's one of the reasons we're really good at collaborating, because we work together, and it's the sharing of ideas and stuff.
Absolutely, and another side of maturity. But so let me ask you this: Let's talk about the leadership side of this for our business leaders who are watching. What role does leadership play in business maturity?
Well, for me, I think that if you're a business leader, you should be driving those technical decisions. You shouldn't be having IT tell you, here's the reports I want to give you. You should be saying, here's the reports I need.
Absolutely.
I need to make
Absolutely.
business decisions, and here's the decisions I need. I don't want to leave that. This is my business, and I'm driving it, and I need this. So how can you get it for me? And you instruct them to put the certain technologies that you need to get to the mission, and you also are having them deliver the analytics that you need so that you can make business decisions to get to the next level.
And it's funny you say that too, because I was having a conversation just this morning, and with a prospect, and we were kind of going back and forth. And one thing he had explained to me is that, my IT team just handles all of this, and he wasn't really seeing his role in technology. So I was trying to get him to see that side of it, right?
Yeah.
I wanted him to see that this is more of a business leader decision of what you're doing with technology, not just your IT team, because ultimately, if you leave it up to your IT team, they're making those financial decisions for you.
And that's one of the things, like just going through college and stuff, being able to see that business side, because I own my own business and I also got into IT, and I got to see both sides of the table.
Right.
And it's neat to see, the communication, how it breaks down. It's hard. There's a different language. There's a language barrier between technical and business.
Oh, 100%.
And technical people need to understand the business side of things to be able to give the business people good business decisions, because not every technology is based off of just putting a cool gadget in place.
Right.
It's based off of getting results, and having that understanding of business. That's one of the things about like James and John that are so good. They have really great business sense and really great technology. So using them as a sounding board is just wonderful, because you can get real good business decisions based off of really good technology. And they also speak that business language to you that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's a good way to look at it too. And that kind of makes me think of this is, one part of a mature business is being able to adapt and change to help your business thrive. You never know what's coming around the corner. You got to be able to adapt to certain things.
Yeah.
So,
and like AI, who saw that coming? I mean,
right.
It's been a couple of years, but you have to have been a leader to recognize it and to kind of adopt it and know when to start. Where can you put it and how to use it?
So why do you think a lot of business leaders still resist change? Just from your opinion, just kind of, why do you think that's kind of the main thing?
Well, I think a lot of people start to think like, is this a thing? Is it just a fad? Is it something that's actually going to take off? A lot of people like they're followers, not leaders.
Right.
There's other people who will embrace things and try and learn it and see how they can incorporate it into their processes. You can even try to test things out and reject it if things. But there's other people like, I'm going to wait and see how that kind of pans out.
Yeah, because you never see technology go backwards.
Yeah. Here's a real good analogy. It's like the person who invests in companies. So you go out, and the person who makes the most money is the one who invested in the company when it was down and it started making money. So you bought into the company when it was not doing well, but you saw potential in it.
Right.
And the other people are the people who buy when it's high. So it's seeing that potential.
That's a good way to compare it. Yeah. No, that's good. So what do you think? How important would executive buy-in be when implementing new technology? So how important is it for them to kind of be involved in those technical conversations?
It's the most important thing. With me and some of the things that you and I come up with on just some of the technology, until John and James buy into it, it's nothing. It has to have their vision. It's his company, it has to drive their vision in everything that we do. So until I have it, it's just like me and you working on the sales process. I can come up with ideas, but until I've sat down with you and really got your perspective, I can't take that and make it something that's going to work, because it's not going to work in your world. And I don't understand that until we have that collaboration. And until the leadership actually puts their little thumbprint into it, it doesn't work within the company.
So how does, let's say, there's a business leader watching this. They're like, okay, this makes sense. Maybe I should be more involved with my technology decisions. Where do they start? What kind of questions should they be asking? What's a good starting point for them to kind of take to their IT team to be like, okay, what should I do? Or how can I help you guys? What questions should they be asking?
That's kind of a tough thing. I mean, but you basically want to start, you want to sit down and say, look, this is the business decisions. I think from a business perspective and a business leader, you don't need to let everybody know every detail of your company.
Right.
It's not that you want to keep things, but you need to know this in order to function in your job.
Right.
And that's what you need to have the conversation on. I need you to do this. You have to understand the business role of information technology. You have to know how you're going to use them to get you to the next level. And you have to know that this person does X and they have to accomplish that. What do they need to succeed?
Right.
So you have to be able to sit down with them and know, this is how I use you. This is the maturity that I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
The leveraging, the understanding that I need this skill set in my company in order to get to the next level. And knowing that that person's going to be able to provide that to you. And they have the direction, they have the understanding, and they also have your input and your backing to do it. Without that, it really becomes difficult to succeed, because I'm trying to do things where I'm not sure if you really want me to or not, but I think it's good.
Right.
And until we actually have that conversation where, no, this is exactly how we want to do it, then, because that's my direction as an employee. I need to be able to know exactly what you want me to do. Not exactly, but round it. I need to know what direction I'm going in.
Bingo.
In order to get there. And if you're just letting me kind of flail around and make that up, then I may be going in the right direction, I may not. And in some cases, you get really good people that will get you there. But was that luck or was that skill on your leadership part?
And that's a good point. And I was even thinking of something is, if you don't really know, if you're not in regular communication with your IT team, well, a good place to start too is say, look, here are some of the challenges that I'm facing. Can you maybe provide some data that kind of backs this, so we can make an informed decision on what we should do next?
Yeah.
Little things like that, and communicating with your IT team, that should be happening on a regular basis.
And also empowering your employees to have those discussions as well.
Absolutely.
What can I...
They're the front line.
Yeah, I mean, I could actually do something more productive if I had this tool. Or, have that open communication where if you got people that are trying to tell you how to make more money, listen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. So let me ask you this. So when you walk into, this is one of the questions I had written down here. When you walk into a new client, what are some of the signs that tell you whether they're a mature organization? And this is something that I go through a lot. When I'm going to do sales presentations right off the bat, there's a few things that I look for personally that helps me determine how mature a company might be. And a lot of it is really just understanding, is their technology set up in a way that's going to make them the most efficient, right? So I can't really see that off the bat, but what I like to do is try to see kind of what are they doing for cybersecurity to mitigate some of those risks. And if I can see that they're keeping security and risk mitigation at the top of mind, to me, that already tells me this company is more mature than some of the other ones I've already spoken with.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like just seeing that they understand that this is an asset, and this asset is a vehicle to get me to point B.
Right.
And once they understand that, they understand, the risks that are involved with it not being there. It's there for a purpose. If something could go away and it not impact your world, you don't need it.
Right.
It's a waste of time and a waste of money.
Right.
But if it's something that actually is helping drive the bottom line, then you need it.
Yeah.
And you need to protect it. And so, yeah.
So what are some quick wins that can immediately improve business maturity, in your opinion?
I think being able to have those conversations with technology, your IT team, and know that, being able to have that collaboration of what kind of technologies can, I try and have conversations with people going, because one, I'm geeked out about AI and what kind of tools can I build for you, and like, oh man, we could do this, we could do that, because I love just coming up with solutions. And that's what I like to do is, if you can get people that are coming up with solutions to make things quicker, easier, better, more productive, you're building a better place to work, better products, you're empowering people, you're making your clients even happier because you're doing a better job.
Absolutely.
So, it's just an all-around great thing. So, I think opening up collaboration and trying accepting some of the feedback that you can get.
Right.
I think once you start getting to a point where people can feel safe to let you know, hey, this isn't working. I want to do this. Not every idea is going to be great. Some things are just going to be like, I've tried that, or that's just dumb.
We're not going to use that at all. Right?
Go ahead and cut that out. No, but you want to be able to have that freedom to express that and to at least be able to go, you know what, I know where you're coming from. Here's where I'm coming from. Sometimes you meet in the middle. Sometimes you meet on that side. So sometimes that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but having that out and at least being able to go, no, here's why. So you can get somebody in track to your thinking as well by having that conversation. Because if they don't understand that mindset, maybe they're not performing the way they should.
Right. That's a good point. So let me ask you this: if because we like to work with companies who are mature and understand the value of technology and how to use it to their
that's
advantage and how to leverage it, right?
That's the only client that is looking for us.
100%. So what about a company who's not mature? What can we do to help get them to that level?
This is one of the things I love about your technique is that you want to empower people. Every conversation I hear, because I hear you talk, you're right outside my office.
I'm sorry about that too. Sorry you have to listen to me all day. But so there's a lot of companies that we work with. Our ideal customer is someone who is mature. They understand the need for technology. They use it to get ahead, and they also are aware of the risk that it can create as well. But what about a company who's not quite there yet? How can we help them become more mature?
Yeah, and this is exactly what I love about your approach. I hear it all the time out there. It's, you have conversations with individuals, and you're helping them become more mature by empowering them and giving them information. And the conversations that I hear constantly is, it's just too good to be true,
100%.
It's hard to believe that there's a company out there that really wants to help you get to that next level. But that's where we are. If you're not already there and understand the technology and that it's worth protecting, then you either are at a comfortable stage where you're happy where you are and you don't need to understand what you're trying to tell them, or I'm receptive to that, and I want to get to that next level. And that helps people grow to where they want to, and it helps people become clients.
So the more information that someone could have about technology, obviously it's going to lead to them being a more mature company at some point, right? Just provide them with information. That's one of the things that we like to do here. And you're right. I've had people that I've spoken with who think that it's too good to be true, that we're just not providing free information, but that's not the case. We want to help your business be mature so you can understand the great things that you could do with technology while not creating more risk. And the best way to do that is to provide free education, free information, because you could start a business. I can start a business tomorrow, but that doesn't mean I know anything about technology, right? So it's a good way to just at least get some ground information. Here's some information. Now this will help you make better decisions in the future, and then that's ultimately what I care about when I'm trying to help businesses.
But the great thing is that you have an opportunity to have a sounding board of somebody who has bridged that gap, that language barrier that I talked about, that there is between technology and business.
Right.
And now you can actually sit down with somebody who understands both sides of it, where you can go, here's what we're trying to achieve. Here's what we want to do. And you get to have that unbiased opinion, because some people have people that I can't tell you what I really believe because you're my boss.
Right.
But you're going to get an honest opinion. Here's how the technology should work. Here's the risks involved with introducing that into your system, and here's how to mitigate those things. So here's what you're going to be taking on.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. If you were to leave a final message for our viewers just about business maturity and where technology plays a role in that, what would that final message you want them to kind of resonate with them the most?
There's tons of resources out there that you can actually use. And if you wanted to, I mean, there's tons of frameworks out there.
Absolutely.
They're free. All of the NIST things, well, your tax dollars pay for it, so it's not free.
Not completely free.
But you basically, it's available. And the thing is that it's complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also very difficult to keep your mind in running a business and also trying to wrap your mind around governing all the policies and procedures and the risk matrix and all of the evidence and things that you're trying to collect. And it's a full-time job. That's what I do.
Absolutely.
So being able to lean on somebody and getting that perspective from somebody who understands it and is great. Be able to have those as a resource. So take advantage of that. If you want to get to a certain level that you're not at, seek out where you want to be and find people who are doing it and ask them how to get there. If you're happy where you are, that's great. You're probably not even watching.
Right. That's a very good point. Probably not even on here now. But okay, yeah, that's a really good perspective on things, Dan. And I just to mimic and basically echo what he's saying. A mature company, again, not a negative connotation. If you're an immature company, it just means that maybe you're just starting, or maybe there's some things that you still have to learn. And by just becoming more of a mature company, it's really looking at things from all lenses and really figuring out, how can I grow my business? How can I excel in my business and make sure that my employees are doing well? And all these things that go into maturity, technology plays a huge role in that. So I thank you, Dan, for the information you gave us today. Is there anything else you want to add from a ethical hacker standpoint?
Well, I mean, I love the ethical hacking side of things is great. What's kind of cool about like sitting down and talking with an ethical hacker is, just a couple days ago I sat down with Daniel and I created a little web application, and it was interesting for me because I'm a web designer of 25, 30 years, and when I was doing it, I was going, wow, they need this, they need to have that, and then watching Daniel use it, I was like, I didn't even think about using the tool that way or clicking in that way. So it's neat to see a different perspective, and getting that different perspective is what an ethical hacker is going to provide for you, because you can't think like a criminal. It's hard to get in that mindset. It's hard. It takes a technical side of things, and it also takes like a devious mind that I like to break things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're not geared to think that way. And to be able to have that perspective and is valuable. Absolutely. Because there's always someone out there who is trying to take advantage of you. And I don't like to sell that, but it's a business reality. It's something that we have to deal with. We have to understand it. And the more you know, the better you are.
Absolutely. The knowledge is power. The more you know, the more perspectives you can bring into something. It's just only going to help you, and it's going to help your business become mature if you're not already.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, call me. Actually, we would love to sit down with you and bounce ideas off and let you have a sounding board.
Absolutely. And that's all the time we have for today, guys. Stay tuned for our next episode. Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Uninterrupted, a podcast from Forbes Cybersecurity. We hope you walked away with practical insights to protect your business and stay ahead of the latest cyber threats. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. For more tips, resources, and cybersecurity updates, visit Forbes.com. That's 4bis.com. and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay vigilant and stay uninterrupted.